Hey bhotani bantwana bahle. Sanibona, dumelani. Dumelani. Vumani nithi lukhona uxolo. Dumelang liri rina le kgotso. Vumani nithi lukhona uxolo. Bhotani siyacamagusha ukunqula ukuthandaza. Sithi makube chosi kube hele. Kudede ubumnyama kuvela ukukhanya. Ninjani namhlanje? Ninjani namhlanje? I think we're gonna start in a few minutes. I'm just waiting for more people to join. Was supposed to start an hour ago, but got delayed a bit. I want to start with some nice songs, but I'm struggling to find them. I don't know why. I hope niyaphila kodwa man. I hope niyaphila on this beautiful day. Thina siyibambile this side. Sisaphila this side. I think I'm gonna play one more song and then we can start. You guys want one or two? Share the live. We must address this Khoisan thing today. Who's Khoisan? Who's not? Someone's asking, why didn't hoodoo work against colonialism? I don't know what hoodoo is. I don't practice hoodoo. We don't have it in my culture or in South Africa. I'm from South Africa, so I think you would have to ask that the people who practice hoodoo, whatever hoodoo is. But here in South Africa, we did not practice hoodoo. Neither did we rely on hoodoo. We fought with spears and shields and axes. And obviously those things didn't work against colonialism because colonialism came with guns and explosives. So it's technology. It really is. It's just a matter of better technology. But also colonialism came with psychological warfare, which is what really won the war of colonialism, the psychological warfare part of it. Voodoo, hoodoo, whatever those things are, those things are not a weapon of war. They are not a weapon of war. War is fought with weapons and strategies, not with hoodoo. So, yeah. Let's play a nice song and then we get started. Please share the live and tap the screen. Why is Shaka so celebrated? But there are people like Yinza who fought for many years. But who celebrates Ushaka, guys? People always ask me this kind of stuff. Who celebrates Ushaka? It's the people of Ushaka. And I wouldn't have it any other way. The people of Ushaga celebrate Ushaga. He's their hero. He's their ancestor. They should celebrate him. Of Ushaga to celebrate Yinza. Yinza should be celebrated by his people. They're the ones who are not celebrating him. So we can't blame that on people who celebrate Shaka. And I know there's a narrative that Shaka was this sellout, so he was evil, murdering people, but that's for his people to decide. The people of Kukune must celebrate Kukune. Understand? The people of Mushweshwe must celebrate Mushweshwe. That's the gist of it, really. That is the gist of it. If Abantu Baga Yinza do not uphold the name of Yinza, do not tell the stories of Yinza, then Yinza is going to be forgotten, regardless of how much he fought. If the people of Unrika do not celebrate Unrika, who's going to celebrate Unrika? SABC? Netflix? HBO Max? Or Amazon Prime? No. Those are businesses that exist to make profit. They don't give a damn about Nrika or Yinza. So it should be the people who celebrate their own history. Unless they're waiting for Europeans then. When Europeans start writing about Yinza, then they're going to be there fighting with the Europeans. Don't talk about Yinza. You must talk about Yinza, man. You want to be online fighting with other black people instead of celebrating your history. And then when other people celebrate their histories, you want to get offended and act like a victim. People are not victims. People must celebrate their own histories. And stop occupying a space of victimhood. So Ushaga must be celebrated by the people of Ushaga. And they should not allow anyone to bully them into demonifying or demonizing and vilifying Ushaga. No! For the people of Ushaga, Ushaga is a hero. For the people of Uyinza, Uyinza is a hero. But if they're not going to celebrate those people, nobody is going to celebrate them. Everyone has their own ancestors to celebrate. Enough. Clinty, I'll check my inbox. Let me play this song. Sawona saluka zana. Sawona saluka zana. Sawona koko. I don't know who's this person requesting here. You can't just come and request. Hey, Mukaranga, yeah, my brother. Simamele tamalangini namhlanje. Emalangeni abita ngoma leti mnanzi. You know, sawubona salukazana. Obviously, this is saying for the Queen Mother of Eswatini, but the word isalukazi, you know, it's in reference to a very old senior female. It was used for senior animals like a cow, an old female heifer. It's called isalukazi. But if you understand how words work, you would know that if the word salukazi exists, there's a male counterpart, salu, which would be a senior cow. That's interesting because a cow in and of itself represents the royalty of a country, of a nation. So isalukazi, therefore, is the most senior female royal. The most senior female royal, salukazi. And then the most senior male royal, isalu. If we look at the semantics of the word. And for me, that makes sense because if you go to ancient civilizations like Babylon, Akkadian, and ancient languages in the Babylon, Akkadian, Paleo-Hebrew, there's a word there that they use, like sar. They use sar for a king or a chief. Salu, sar. In fact, even in Russia, just now in Soviet Union, they had tsar for a chief. And it makes sense because if you look at what a cow, inkunzi, it represents what? A king, a chief. And it is in the exact same sense that the word alupa, which means to get old, ukwaluphala ngesixhosa, ended up meaning the first alpha. Alpha is taken from alupa, seniority. So it's amazing. One more song, guys. I'm sorry, but I need some music just to get my mind in the right place. And then we can get on with it. I want us to look at Khwe nations in the eastern parts of the country. And where are these people today? Where are the Kham? Where are the Khwe? Where are the Ngamani? Where are the Kakia? Where are the Khwe people and the Omani and all that? I want us to have a look at these things because sometimes it seems like that's all South Africans are concerned with online. No, I'm a Khoisa. No, you a Bantu invader from West Africa. No, you a mixed race, blah, 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 all those things. And a lot of them are dumb and stupid, but are dangerous, especially when organized forces start to fund certain narratives behind the scenes. It becomes dangerous now because now there's a political agenda behind it. When groups of people argue about history and that's all there is to it, that's fine. But now when there's certain organizations that fund specific narratives that are going to be detrimental to the indigenous people of the land, people like myself need to stand up and talk about it. So we're going to talk about that Khoisan narrative today. But before that, let's Sukani madoda kujamba sekelona nguhlathi ngulisa ngucanzi kusanzanze sanzonza kwathi umntu kuhlathela ingothiwa selivutha lothiwa zimfene kuba imfene zibaninilo kuhlathi izimabutho ahlukana xa kutshona umfene izimabutho ahlukana xa kutshona ilanga ngumahamba ngezandla usandlala nca uyibeke etyeni itywe zimbovane kumalelwa zintombi zithi mfondini kawundizeke kuluncu lona ngumwandla ngumandi wafikela uhlangeni ndingwakwa mayikana ndingwakwa vibisa ndingwakwa rhwala emgodleni ndingwakwa geqa amatye ndingwakwa pheka iphemphem ngengxawana wakwa pheka iqhakupa ngengxawana ndingumancola ngemhluzi amanzi ekhona ngumfene ke lowo ngumsuthu lowo ngulisa lowo ngujambase lowo ngucanzi lowo nguvinjwa lowo nguhlophe lowo ngusidulu ngube mhlophe zalwa ke mna ke intombazana yasemanzothweni konyelenzi komaphango kongqale kongqake ngqanqasini kogquqa koqhamu kowele liyobe phambili impunzi ngasemva kumtya nethunga kwasemanzothweni hoyini bafazi bentsikizi lentsholo nayiphazama nithabatha isidoda ngoma lehlatyelwe isifazi kuntsiba nkuluka yuthu ntaba kahili unabele emntwini usiqasomile somelana zintshaba kugwadela komo zikambiko zikamancamu zikamlawu hlobo sikayigcaleka sihlobo sikakhawuta sihlobo sikamalangana sikatogu sikamdanga sikatshiwo phuma ke phansi komhlaba kangqika amarharhabe into zikantsinga kanomagwayi wasembo uzamazama ilizwe lizamazama usibala mdaka usambatha zimfutshane kanti zomlingana ukunene kaphalo madoda ndithi ke makube Xhosa kube hele nditsho kokhokho bam amangqosini othithibo nozinga abantu bomlambo ngogaba bocihoshe ojwaqula ongxangana mbokodwe emnyama kaThikoloshe eqengeleka isenyuka phezu komlambo igqili ndiyacamagusha ke kumagcina ke okhokho bam ngoncancashe abo oxhamela onokwindla omalamba edlile izinto ezilamba ziyendle ziyodli igusha sabelungu zili ziziduli zethafa gadluma tyhopho ndithi makube Xhosa kibehele ke emampondweni kokhokho bam ofaka othahla kandayeni onyawuzo oziqelekazi ongqungqusho ohlamba ngobenda amanzi ekhona faka oyifakayo wayikhupha sawudidana nditsho kuwe ke mamhlanje enhlanga nqabane wena wakulo hlamba ngobenda amanzi ekhona makhulu wami tsho kuwe ke Mpondomse cabashe nkomo zibomvu mampehle wena wakulo ibeka wakulokani lubisi dikana ndiyacamagusha ke kodlamini madoda okhokho bam ozizi ofakade ongqibini oboya nina nawelithukela nawela ngenkomo uqeda nayidla leyani welisa qeda nayililela nawelele sandlulubeni Xhosa. Let's talk. Time to talk now. We are done with the music. You know, we love music so much. We've been made caricatures of music and singing and all those things by companies. When they want to market to us, they play songs and put dancing people. They know we love music. But we also love to think. And that's a very important distinction to make. So, my people, someone is asking here. Ungumxhosa bhuti ulibhaca okanye ulihlubi. Hayi mntwana omhle. Eneneni ndingumphuthi mna. My ancestors came from Lesotho. But before they were in Lesotho, they were in the Drakensberg area around KZN Lesotho. You know, my ancestors came from the Drakensberg. That's it. Some are in KZN today, some are in Lesotho today, some are in Eastern Cape today. But Tina Singaba Sukahlamba, you see, Maloti. That's where my ancestors are from. So yeah. Amamfene ke angu, ojambase, olisa, ocanzo, sanzanza. You find them in Lesotho, Ebafene. Yes, they did live in the caves. That's why I say city sihlangomva elweni. We descend downwards on the cave, yabo. In fact, there's a cave right now in Lesotho called Tlukhulu, which means Undlunkulu. That is the cave of one of our chiefs in the 1700s. He lived there. That was his royal palace. It's a cave, yabo. So yes, a lot of the village names in southern Lesotho are our names. Names like Kuting, names like Kaqoha, yabona. Those are our names. So my ancestors are from those caves all the way to the Drakensberg area. So we mixed with people like Amazizi. We mixed a lot with those people. And we are related to groups like Oshezi, Omkabela. We are related to groups like Omlotwa, Ogwabaza. We are related to those people as well. Namamfena Kwatusi in KZN. Those are our people. Ebatweneng, Bahiba. Khiba Hamadi Apofolo, Mutua Mutwene, Mutua Khiba, Lilimilinsu, Huma Diklare. So you'll find us even in amongst Botswana, amongst Bahuruts, you'll find us around those areas. So those places that are around the Drakensberg immediately, like Free State, Kwakwa, we are there. KZN, Ukahlamba, Ondini. You'll find us in those areas. Maloti, Lesotho, you'll find us there. Eastern Cape, like Matatiele, Mount Fletcher, Herschel, all the way to the Cape Colony, we were there. So some of the notable people from Amamfene is people like Robert Sobukwe. Sobukwe, Umfene. Upel Tusi, Umfene Wakatusi. Anele Mdoda, Umamfene. Tony Yengeni, the ANC guy, Umfene. Claudi Mutweneng, Umfene. Umboro, Umfene, Kimutweneng Mutu. So those are our people. We are we have a close affinity with Bakwena, Bamunaheng particularly. So amongst Basotho, you will see us. Hey, Amavene, they can be crazy or they can be smart. So you see, Claudi Mutweneng and Mboro, they are the other side. Whereas Sobukwe and myself, we are on the other side. Yabon. So yeah, I think other people who have Mfene blood in them, it's people like Aifani, I think maybe his mother is Umamfene. People like Younger Chief, he may be related to Amamfene, I'm not sure. But yeah, so Amamfene are vastly distributed in many different areas. They are in many different areas, but in the Eastern Cape, a huge chunk of Amamfene, you'll find them amongst Abatembu. The reason why you'll find a lot of us amongst Abatembu is because the Tembu Kingdom, we sort of like combined within the Tembu Kingdom under the leadership of Undungwa. So Undungwa has sort of like formed a chieftaincy of his own with us, Amamfene. So he made us his people. So even to this day, Amamfene, you'll find a lot of them amongst Abatembu, even in the royal family of Abatembu. No. Sobukwe ngumfene. Sobukwe is from, his ancestors are from Kuting, Lesotho. He's not even from South Africa. Umgcina ngubiko. Umgcina nguSteve Biko. Steve Biko, umgcina, Kamela, Ncancashi. Khrizani, Uchonyane. Khwe speaks Khwemana, his ancestors. So umgcina, Steve Biko, Khrizani, Uchonyane, Sobukwe, Kumfene, Ujambasi, Uhlathi, Canzi, Usanzazi, Uhlangomvelweni. Perhaps let's start with Amamfene Vele, because people have been asking me to talk about Amamfene. Who are Amamfene and where are they from? So obviously they're the indigenous people of this country, like all of us, right? You will find them amongst Botswana in areas like Northern Cape, possibly Northwest as well, especially amongst Bahurutse. Some of the oldest records I found that record Batweneng amongst Botswana, it's almost like Bahurutse, that those white people were saying Amamfene are like the remnants of an older population of Northern Cape that mixed with Botswana. That's what they were saying, a remnant of an older population. In Lesotho, Amamfene are regarded as some of the first people. It's not my opinion saying this. It's written down. You can even go to the Morija Museum, which is the official museum of Lesotho. Go to the Morija Museum and learn. They will tell you straight. Amamfene, which they call Ematseza, they're regarded as some of the first people, mixed with other groups like the Khwe and the Khwe and Khwe. But they call these groups Barwa. That's what they call them. But we know it's not Barwa. It's Khwe, who are more like Southern Lesotho to Northern Cape. And then Khwe, who are more like Lesotho, even Northern Lesotho to KZN. Khwe, Southern Lesotho to Northern Cape. Khwe, Lesotho to KZN. Khwe, Lesotho to Eastern Cape. So these are communities that merge in Lesotho. And then you have Amamfene, who were called Mapetla or Mapetla. They were called Mapetla by the Dlamini people. Which Dlamini people? The Dlamini people of Langa. Ema Dlamini ka Langa. Ebatfu bakalanga chabela gitokupa lipiswane. Ebatfu bomlabo lokawela lowelwa itiko jane todzi kuba yito litipapa getulu. Ebatfu bekuwela litfukela bawela gewomo qedza bayidla liyabawelisa qedza bayilela. Bona labawelela esadlulubeni. So those are the Dlamini people that are in Lesotho, or Langa, or Chabela. But there's another group of the descendants of Langa. Langa of Amazizi, not Langa of Zwide and all that. No, Langa was Amazizi. There are two lines that descend from Langa, and both of them are in Lesotho today. It's the senior house of all Amazizi. The royal house, the senior house of all Amazizi. Base Lesotho, they are known as Odlamini, Olanga, or Chabela. These are the ancestors of, excuse me, the house out of which Uqenge came out, Muros. Then there's another house, they were known as Bahalanga, but they called themselves Emabulani. Why do they call themselves Emabulani? Because one of their most famous leaders is Ubulani Uqobo. They are not the same people as Mapulana of Mpumalanga. Mapulana are a different group of people. Emabulani, it's a completely different group of people. Pulana and Bulani, two different names, not the same name. Just like Maputi and Maputing, two different peoples. Maputing are a Tswana descent. Maputi are a mixture of Amazizi, Abatwa, just a mixture of people. Yeah, bon. So the Ebagalanga, who are now known as Mabulani, they're the second group of Amazizi in Lesotho. These people were there before Lesotho even became a country. There was no Lesotho when those people arrived there. But they found Amamfene already in Lesotho. This is what I'm getting to. When Emabulani arrived in Lesotho, when Ebagalanga arrived in Lesotho, when Odlamini Bagwalanga arrived in Lesotho, they found Amamfene in Lesotho. That is why the names of the villages are the names that were used by Amamfene. Kakoha, Amamfene used that word. Sinqu for the river, Amamfene used that word. Uting, Amamfene used that word. And then you've got other names like Kubake for Muhale's hook. Now the name Kubake is a name that came out of an event when Muros was being given his royal blanket. Bati nyiketeni igubakhe, mphatsiseni igubakhe. That is to say, give him his blanket. And they call Muhale's hook Kubakhe because he was given his royal blanket at a young age, Umuros. But Muros himself was called Khwe by the local people that he found there. Remember, Muros, the Abaputi, the Zizi faction came from Natal. They came from Tugela. In the 1500s, 1600s. They say their reason for leaving Tugela is because of Amahlubi. That's what they are saying. They are saying Amahlubi were giving him a difficult time in KZN. And this is 200 years, 300 years before Ushaka. This is before Shaka, because people say Shaka caused havoc in KZN. Shaka did not cause havoc. He found the havoc there. He was born. There was already havoc. So when Amazizi left KZN in the 1600s, they left because the Hlubi were the biggest power below the Tugela River. Now, I wanna address that question, Mukarang. Now the Amazizi, the house of Langa, Emazizini, the house of Langa went to Lesotho. Oh, Amzo, Tamagu Jambas. So they found Amamvene in Lesotho already. Amamvene are the original, or they are part of the original inhabitants. Not just Amamvene. You have Amakwai, you have Amakhegu, you have Amagane. And Bafokeng were also some of the oldest groups in Lesotho. Before even Lesotho was called Lesotho, Bafokeng are very old in that area. Because remember, there's a group of Bafokeng that got mixed up with the Barwa or Abatwa. That group of Bafokeng became known as Amavundle or Tamsholo. That group of Bafokeng had to break away from the Tswana Bafokeng, who are also mixed, by the way, with Barwa. So the Tamsholo group was sort of like ostracized because Bangaba, you know, they're like, they live in the caves and all that, yabo. So basuka ke amakamsholo amavundle ahlala in southern Lesotho and northern Eastern Cape. So the Bafokeng have always been in KZN, in Eastern Cape long ago. In the 1500s, Bafokeng were already in Eastern Cape. In fact, Amavundle had their own language, their own dialect in Eastern Cape, their own way of speaking Amavundle. Now, back to Amamfene. Amafene had a royalty of their own. They had a paramountcy of their own. They were independent. So that means Amafene had no king. They had no king. They had a head, inkosi. But there was no king who's in charge of everyone. That is the true history of Amamfene. In fact, one of the last chiefs of Amamfene was a man called Raisa. He fought against colonialism. Raisa fought against colonialism in the late 1800s. And one of his last descendants was interviewed in 1992. Mosiuwa, the descendant of Raisa, I think he's a grandchild of Raisa. That is the last chief of Amamfene that I know of who was independent. So we must understand, Amamfene are not some vague group of Basutu, what. No, they are called Msutu. Yes, they are called Msutu, but they don't come from the nation of Lesotho. They predate the nation of Lesotho. They predate the nation of South Africa, the nation of Botswana. We were there before all these nations because we are the people of the land. Now, are we related to other groups? Yes, we are related to people who live in the desert of the Kalahari, people known as Qatsi, people, or Qanzi. That's why we call ourselves Qanzi. Hey, you go to the Khwe dictionary, you find the word Qanzi, you realize it means the bush. Do you understand why Sibizwa uba singohlati? Hlati is a bush. Qanzi is a bush. It's the bush people who lives in the caves. Sithi singohlati. Hlatheli ngothiwa sele livutha lothiwa zimfene kuba imfene zibaninilo. Singohla ngomva emaweni. Bathi abaphuthi ngithewuka ngemuva emgedzeni. Awu madoda. Ngithewuka ngemuva emgedzeni. That means I descend from the cave and I slide down with my bag. Bathi ngithewuka ngebulebu ethabeni. That is to say, ndehla ngeminxeba yemithi ezintabeni. So that is the story of my forefathers. They did live in the caves. They did use trees, but also they did make weapons. The idea that people who live in caves are this dumb. No, they did make weaponry. Now what then happened is, as the people of Murosi arrive in the country in the 1700s, the people of Murosi then take over. So they become the overall power of southern Lesotho, including us. So even us, Amamfene, we became the subjects of Amazizi in Lesotho. Therefore, we became Amazizi in that manner. We became Baphuti, not just Amazizi, but Baphuti specifically. So today, if you go to southern Lesotho, you'll find Amamfene amongst Baphuti because they are Baphuti in a way, because they were part of the Phuti kingdom. And sikhuluma Siphuti, sike batfu bekuncola ngemhluti ematiyansa kona, sike batfu bekupheka tiphemphemu letiqhakuba ngenqawana, sike batfu bekuthewuka ngemuva emgedzeni, bekuhwala emgodleni, sike mathetsa, sike maphedla, sike mavuladlela. So that's very important to understand. So by the time Lesotho starts to form, Tina, we have been there all along. We've seen it all. We've seen the Bakalanga arriving in Lesotho. We've seen the Bafokeng arriving in Lesotho. Bafokeng, the earliest group of Bafokeng, were called Emadla Boot, which means the goat eaters. The first group of Bafokeng were poor actually, so they used to eat goats. The first group of Bafokeng were called Emadla Boot, or Kasisudu Majapodi. So Amamfene then are related to Bushmen groups like Qadzi, which you will find in the Kalahari, which you will find in Botswana. I must make a video about this because if you know Amamfene, you will see the Qadzi people, they look exactly the same. They've got the same head, the same eyes, and all that. Now, what is Qadzi? Qadzi is a group of so-called Abatwa who revere, or their totem originally was the eland, impofu. Originally, it was the eland. But over time, it became the baboon. Our totem is the baboon nowadays. Hence, we call ourselves the people of the baboon. Abantu bemfene, batswening. Right? Now, if you know anything about the baboon, is how intelligent it can be. The baboon is so naughty, it can steal, but it never gets caught. Now, think about people who live in caves, who don't want to be under the rulership of a king. Those people are going to go and steal cattle. They're going to go and steal and take. They don't see it as stealing, because generally, they go to places that are uninhabited. They stay in those places so that they can hunt. Now, the king there is being killed by his fellows. Here, this king gets killed by his fellows, or he gets attacked, so he runs. He runs to the place that is occupied by people who live in caves. So when he gets there, he takes the place where people live in caves. People who live in caves go there and they take the cows. That's how the problems begin now. So we steal the cows, and in our process of taking the cows, we need to learn ways now to manipulate, ubuthi, ubugqi. So you start to observe what the baboon eats. You look at the different roots and tubes that it uses. We go collect those herbs. We burn them. We create umsizi, charred ashes. We take those charred ashes. We slit siyachaza or siyaqaphula inhlanga, and then we put those ashes here, which is called insizi or ikubalo labathakathi. When we start to hunt now, you even put inhlanga here, so that when you hunt, you can hit that thing, that target on point. So I'm going to have that history. But then they did combine with Baputi. They became Baputi. Ebathu bevula. Emakhamba lavula. Ebathu labagatalwa kufati. Laba thewukiye gelitulwini batokotsitsinini elphasini. Acho abaputi. Athi thine asatalwa kufati. Sithewukiye elitulwini. Satokotsi tsitsinini elphasini. Utsho ukuthi asizalwanga ngumfazi thina sehle ezulwini sazothi ngcu phansi emhlabeni, because the Amazizi used to revere the rain. And if you know anything about people who live with cave dwelling communities in South Africa, is that rainmaking was a huge part of these cave dwelling people. That's why even to this day, abaputi in Lesotho, when they are in a ceremony, they come together, they will always say something. Maine ivula. Maine ivula. Yabo. So then Amavene became part of that. But now during colonialism, the British were very instrumental in the creation of what we know as Lesotho today, because at the death of Mushweshwe was a good friend of Murosi, by the way. Murosi Webaputi. Mushweshwe was a very good friend. But at the death of Mushweshwe, the first heir of Mushweshwe, Ulitsiye the first, he was actually a friend of the British. He did actually sell out Murosi to the British. He actually caused Murosi's death at Mount Murosi. To this day, in Lesotho, there's something called Baputi Lamentations, where Baputi go on a hike up the mountain of Murosi, where he was killed by the British together with Litsiye of Lesotho. Litsiye killed Murosi together with the British. Baputi, to this day, they go up the mountain every year. You can go and search it online. Search Baputi Lamentations. They go and cry at the top of the mountain. They say they want to be recognized as an official member of Basotho, particularly to be taught their language at school, because it's not taught. That's why you would be shocked that Siput is an official language of Lesotho. isiXhosa is an official language of Lesotho. Sesotho is an official language of Lesotho. And English is an official language of Lesotho. But only two of these languages are taught at school, Sesotho and English. Siput is not taught, but Baput were there before Lesotho was formed. So it doesn't make sense to me. It makes zero sense. It's the same thing in South Africa, where Amahlubi cannot speak their language. They cannot be taught their language. Amacele cannot be taught their language. Amalala, their language even died They couldn't be taught. Amamfengu, their language died. Now we are stuck with a generation that has no clue who they are. Because language is not just words to be spoken. Language is literally a vessel that contains a people's essence. So that's what's happening in Lesotho. The Baphuti people are still crying. They still want their language to be taught at schools, which is crazy because they were there before Lesotho was even formed. So for me, there's something wrong. Yeah, well, there's something wrong about that. I nizane tribes zenu ngoku zintoni amacele. I think Aza, you are in the wrong place. Aza, I think you are in the wrong place. I don't joke a lot here. Maybe you are trying to joke, but I don't do that. I don't do jokes when I'm on live. I could be spending my time on other things. So maybe you can just drop off the live and go and watch another one. Yabo. I'm not that guy. Alright? Sipho Matthews. So Siphuti, it's similar to Northern Ndebele. Yeah, no, uyabona isindebele saka Gigan. Isindebele saka Mlendlana. It's very similar to Siphuti. I speak Siphuti ne. Ngiyasikhuluma Siphuti lilimi lelimnazi kakhulu. Lelikuvisa mnazi ngekhathi. Ngithi angilikhuluma kumitheke ehlitiyo yami. I was in a group with the Amandebele akwamlendlana. Amandebele kagegana. Hey, we could understand each other very clearly there. Like we did not even need translations. Like it sounds so similar. So similar. But Siphuti also there's a lot of old words. There's a lot of old words like clique words that you're not gonna find. For example, in Siphuti, when you say it's cold, you will say kuyanqadza. You say kuyanqadza. When you say over there or outside, in Siphuti, you say gesheyi. Hey, kuyanqadza gesheyi mne wekhethu. When you say like I think grandmother, you say ucece. In Siphuti. So you say, hey, makhulu. No, makhulu is nkeke. Makhulu is nkeke. And then grandfather is nkulu. But if you want to say, I think it's utadobawo. I think it's utadobawo, babekazi. When you say babekazi, kuyabanda ngaphandle, you say, cece, kuyanqadza gesheyi. That's Siphuti. Uyabona? So it is similar when you're speaking to Northern Ndebele. Uyabona? Amacele, guys, come on. You know when you receive new information, the first thing you do as a serious adult, because we are not teenagers here. I literally have a white beard. First thing you do when you receive information that you don't know, you go and actually confirm it. You don't laugh. It's not a laughing matter. It is not a laughing matter. You don't laugh. Oh no, you don't know amacele. It doesn't mean they are not there. Go to Emampondweni. Go to Emampondweni and ask them, do you know about Dr. Amacele? They will tell you, why is Amacele? Go to Southern KZN and ask them if they know Amacele. They will even show you villages called Emacele. It's a tribe. It's an actual ethnic community. They have an actual language called Isicele. Bayatekela. Tintombi. That is Isicele. I have audio files here. Or you can just go online and check Intomi, Isicele. That's it. Just go online. There's internet. It's free. Genge is not a Xhosa name. Igenge is a gang. We don't have that thing in it, cause Igenge is a gang, guys. Macele maninzi emampondweni. Maninzi amacele emampondweni. You see here online, there's audio files of Isicele. Intomi is Isicele. Kunentomi zesicele. I will see if I can find them. Now, I found a Intomi of a Mpondo woman. Now, just to conclude on Amamven, it's important that I finish this. So, In 1878, what you have is, I will accept you guys. I see all of you guys who are requesting to enter. I will accept you. Just let me just lay the ground, yabo. So you have King Letsie of Basotho killing Murosi of Baphuti in 1879, I think. So now Baphuti become a dispossessed group of people who have absolutely no historical, like they have nothing that maintains their history, that contains their pride. They become a poor group of people who are like orphans in their own country. Like it's like that to this day. So a lot of Amamfene then end up moving over to Eastern Cape. Other Amamfene were already in Eastern Cape long ago, like Mount Fletcher. Mount Fletcher, you have places known as Eputini. You have in Herschel. In Herschel, Amamfene were there fighting for that land against colonizers. Herschel, we fought for that bloody land against the British. In fact, in Herschel, there was a Imbokoto or Iliwa Lifika. It was called Lifika Labo Khiba. Now, Khiba is a direct ancestor of Amamfene. He's one of the younger ones. Madzikane, the one I call myself after. Madzikane is way older. Probably lived in the 1400s. And I think this is where Amabhaka get confused now. Because they see, I call myself Madzikane, they think I'm from Amabhaka. Shame, man. I've had a lot of people calling me Bhaka, Madzikane, Bhaka. No, I'm not Bhaka, guys. I'm not Bhaka. But one of my ancestors, way older, was called Madzikane, but Basotho called him Machechane. Machechane. But in our language, it's Madzikane. Now, the name Madzikane, it's not a new name. Even as Khoseni, like a lot of Khosa people have this name, but they say Madikane in isiXhosa. It's not a new name. So, Madzikane had sons like Omuhame, Omatedile, Omadlala, Odlabani. These are the sons who gave birth to Amamfene as we know them. But Madzikane himself had come out from a group of people who are related to Oshezi. So Oshezi and Amamfene, like in the 1400s, would have been one group. Oshezi and Amamfene in the 1400s would have been one group. There would not be a different group. There would be one. But I think the breakaway, probably late 1500s, early 1600s, that's when we broke off from being called Shezi and became Amamfene. You have Amashezi, Amagwabaz, Amachube, and then Amamfene broke off from that and we became our own group, Tina. Now, that's a very important piece of information. It's very important because the name Shezi itself, the name Shezi, it means gold skin. It also means bushman, by the way. Bushman is called Ishezi. It's a word that means golden in color. But it means like an eland. It means like an eland, like impofu, umdu wempofu. That's it. That's what it means. Umdu mpofu or umdu wempofu, the animal. It is a sacred animal of Southern Africa, impofu. I don't know why they don't put it in any symbolism. They don't put it anywhere. You know, if you are hunting and you kill impofu, if you don't give the king the chest, all your cows are going to be taken away. Literally. There's no punishment worse than that, Mos. There's no punishment worse than that. That is one of the worst punishments, when the king takes all your... just because you didn't give him the chest of impofu. So, Oshezi, the word Shezi means like impofu. And also they tend to be, you know, originally at least, bamhlophe. Now, bakhona Oshezi babini Eastern Cape. Kukho Oshezi who are from the Shezi, from KZN, Omkhabela, Otenza, Osaliwa, Omkhonto Bomvu, Odzakwa, abadza zizikhali zamanye amadoda njengoba abanye amadoda edza kwabutywala. Those shezi I'm related to. There are another group of shezi onjilo kuyaselwandle, ojalamba, onqayiya. Now that's a different group of chezi. So kunochezi unjilo kuyaselwandle, unqayiya, ujalamba. That is the royal clan of Amabumvana. They are not the same as Mkhabela, Dzakwa Saliwa, Lo Dzakwa Tikali, Emanye Madvodza, Dzakwa Butchwala. Two different groups. Very, very important to understand. It's not the same people. Oh! I thought. Sugani man. Amamfene end up mixed up in that when the British are attacking, they end up fighting for the land. Ukhiba goes to Heschel, fights for the land in Heschel. They honor Ukhiba. They name a rock in Heschel as Lifika Labo Khiba. Khiba is the chief of Amamfene. The last chief of Amamfene, another chief of Amamfene was Raisa. Raisa fought the colonizers in Lesotho. The last was Musiwa. I saw a picture of him from 1992. Musiwa, he was being interviewed by people who were investigating the Bushmen of Lesotho. So they went to Amamfene to investigate the last knowledge that they had about the Bushmen of Lesotho. They had to go to Amamfene. There's no other people who can give that information. Singabantu behlathi, singabantu bentaba thina, singabantu bemiqolombe, we're the people of the caves. That's 1992. I never heard of another chief of Amamfene. Maybe the next few years I'm gonna travel to Lesotho and to Matatiele and to Mount Fletcher. Maybe I'll travel there and try to find out some more about some of my people there. But yeah, Amamfene, they're everywhere, man. In Lesotho, in KZN, in Free State. And in Free State, they tend to mix a lot with Bakwena Bamnaheng. We lived side by side with Bakwena long ago until they betrayed us and attacked us. But that's for another day. So now you get a man who then, in the 1700s, go to the Cape Colony. This is where people like Robert Sobukwe end up in places like Cradock. People like Robert Sobukwe end up in places like Cradock. They are in the Cape Colony by then. This is where people like Nongqawuse, Mamfene, end up KwaXhosa, KwaGcaleka. This is where people like myself end up KwaXhosa, KwaRharhabe. Oh! Kwansinga kaNomagwayi wasembo, kwasibala mdaka. Kwasambatha zimfutshane kanti zomlingana kube izinto uthi zimfihla amadolo. Ikunene likaPhawulo madoda. But Tina, my family, when we arrived in Eastern Cape, we arrived eBathenjini. We were Thembu Tina when we arrived. We were not Xhosa. SasingabaThembu ufika kwethu. Safikele Ngqakaqha eBathenjini. Singabantu babaThembu in places like Ngqakaqha, Cofimvaba, kuQamata, kuSabalele. You'll find Amamfene everywhere eBathenjini. So when you really dig deep, you'll find majority of Amamfene in Eastern Cape Kabathembu. And then the others, you'll find them in places with Baphuti, like Matatiele. In fact, in Siphuti, when you say Matatiele in Siphuti, it's Emati Atiele. The water has amanzi ajile. Yeah, that's the word. Emati Atiele. Emati Atiele. Now, that is the basis of Amamfene. They are related and connected to Abatwa, Bempofu, known as Katsi people. I'm not going to show pictures today because I'm showing my face. But the Katsi people are there in Botswana. They are there in like Kalahari. Amakanzi. Kanzi is a word that we use to say the bush. Ihlati. Singohlati. But also to mean the people of the inland. That is Amamfene, guys. So someone who asks Amamfene ngabe Sotho. Now remember, these identities like Sotho, Xhosa, what, they are not fixed, these things, man. They are not fixed. If you want to ask me if I'm Sotho, but I've existed for thousands of years. I can't be limited to being Sotho. Yes, today we are part of Lesotho and KwaXhosa and KwaZulu, but we are not that only. We are beyond that. We existed before these political nation states existed. They say Matatiele means Madada Aile. Now, tell me guys, how did Madada Aile become Matatiele? No, please answer me. How did the word Madada Aile, how did it become Matatiele? It doesn't make sense to me. I've had this discussion a lot with people from Matatiele in these groups that how did you change? It's your language, Mos. It's like saying Sandile means si andi alile. How did it become Sandile? It's Mati Atiele. Amanzi ajiyile and the ducks left because amanzi aqinile anqumbululu. That's Siphuti. That's all I'm gonna say. But bona madadaile, that would be Sesotho. But when water becomes thick and stiff, we call that ukujia. In Siphuti it's kutia. So when amanzi ajiyile is emati atiele. Kumatatiele, kumanzi ajiyile. But that's for another day. I'm not interested in discussing that right now. I was just explaining Amamfen. I did say there were many groups like Amacele, and someone was like, Amacele, hi, you are making that up. Let me just play an audio.
Section 32, Side 1, HES 971.
Of a Khwe woman.
The date is October 6, 1967, the time about 5 p.m. The place, as in sections 25 through 31, is in a half-finished rondavel in the mountainous area of Upper Shabati location in Lusikisiki district. The storyteller is a Khwe woman about 50 years old. She wears a...
You see? The storyteller is a Khwe woman about 50 years old in Lusikisiki. Now, if you know anything, Lusikisiki is Emampondweni. Emampondweni. Amacele agcwele eLusikisiki.
Teller is a Khwe woman about 50 years old. She wears a white blanket. The story is related in the Khwe dialect. The audience, as in the preceding sections, includes about 15 women, 15
Can you guys hear?
Men, both Pondo
thank
and
you,
Khwe,
thank you, thank you, Dad. Thank you for the gifts. Please keep them coming, guys. We need the gifts, man. So this is a Khwe woman now. She's gonna tell a story. In Tsomi, that's what it's called. She's gonna tell a story, and the story is in a Khwe language. Let's listen now. Kwasukela.
Asuka ke bahamba bani. Ngathi baye emazimweni. Afika emazimweni kwathiwa hayi la khona ukhosi.
Yava? Kwasukela. Thina asithi kwasukela, thina sithi chosi ngantsomi. Bathi abaphe baphendulayo chosi. Oh, chosi ngazi indaba zolwimi. Yena uthi kwasukela, basuka abantu baya emazimweni. Already I can pick up that there's a sound that I'm not familiar with there. Emazimweni, we don't have emazimweni, Tina. Mwe becomes nye. Thank you guys for the gifts. Feed me more.
Sifuna kuya khona pha emazimweni.
Sifuna ukuya khona pha emazimweni. Do you hear? Sifuna ukuya khona. Today people will laugh at someone who speaks like this. Ah, when you don't know how to speak. No, this is how they speak. Madasaka.
Bathi mabafika emazimweni. Kwathiwa nto ikhomba nenkosi emazini.
You see? Emazimweni kuphi? Emazimuni or emazimini. Uthi kwafika emazimeni babu kwathiwa nizawuyikhomba na inkosi yemazimu. Nizawuyikhomba na. Khomba is ukukhomba, to point. Khomba is ukukhomba, to point.
Bathi bona singasiyaki. Wathi umuntu ngithi khom then.
Wathi umuntu ngithi ikhombeni. Guys, listen. Wathi umunu isicele umunu isixhosa umuntu isimpondo umuntu or umntu isicele umunu. You'll say, we don't have a language like that. You don't have a language like that. Doesn't mean other people don't. So shut up. You don't have a right to speak. Bathi asiyati inkosi yemazimu. Bathi is asiyati. Don't play with us here. Musani ukudlala. Musani ukufekethisa nina sibadala. Imithethwa. Yes, they do speak in a similar way. In fact, Bayede is okay, Bayede is not imithetwa, it's emaqwabe. Imithetwa spoke in a similar way. Even amaqwabe, by the way. Amaqwabe did have a babeyeyeza because Bayete is a Qwabe word. Bayede. Bayede ngosika iqedwa is from the Qwabe way of speaking. Whereas Bayete Bayedze, it's from the Emalangeni way of speaking. Asiqhubeke.
Bathi bebona lapho kwathiwa hey lana kuyafiwa la. Ngathi ke Khwebete ni inkomo zika abantu ngazichiye mamba leni ngazichiye. Khwebete ni inkomo zika abantu ngazichiye mamba leni ngazichiye. Kwamithu isiva. Aliye futhi washo lo muntu wathi Khwebete.
Wabe futhi wacho lo munu. It's very important. Munu is a person. Munu. So when you hear someone say "Ai banu," like someone who speaks Xitsonga, Mukaranga wa Gwambe, you can confirm. Someone who speaks one of the Tswa-Ronga languages, like whether it's Xitsonga, Xinkuna, Xihlangano. When they say munu, it's a person. And it's important, guys, we don't think colonially about our languages. I'm careful when I talk about these languages because people think that these languages are new. No, these languages are old. They are old. So when someone speaks Sephuthi, don't say it's a mixture of Siswati and isiXhosa and Sesotho. No, it's not. It's not. It's Sephuthi. In fact, there was no language called Siswati because Mswati was just born now and he had those people spoke different dialects. Emalangeni. It is its own language indeed. So this thing of China, you're trying to conceptualize something that has always existed as if it's a mixture of, it's not a mix of anything. It's its own language and that's it. Sipulane, no, Spulana is a completely different language. Spulana is like, it's more inclining, it pivots towards Sepedi and some Ndebele. It's not a mixture, I'm saying it pivots towards that Sipulana. And Sipulana is in more like the Mpumalanga area, spoken by Mapulana. Sephuthi is in the Lesotho and Eastern Cape area. Now, you will find that Sephuthi will have some similarities with other languages, like all our languages. We don't say isiXhosa isiZulu, we say isiXhosa isiXhosa isiZulu isiZulu. But isiXhosa and isiZulu are almost like the same thing if you go deep enough in learning these languages. You realize, Mara is the same thing, these ones. But they're not, because there's nuances here and there. Now, Sephuthi will be also similar to like Sekgolokwe, Serolong, because those people sort of like lived together long ago. Let's continue with the Sicele, because someone was like, Abeko, people called Amacele are not there. So let's show them that they are there.
Babaleka wathi masebelekude kwathi kusabe kuqhuza lithuli kwasho inkosi yathi-ke kanabantu bami
luthuli instead of uthuli. She says luthuli, dust.
mbile ngoku bakude ngoku baye emakhaya kufanele wama kuthiweni na yathi inkosi mangibambe lo munye umuntu ndifuna ukumdla nami ndilambile wathi umuntu ethethe uyabamba nalathi kubhubesi hayi msane kubamba lo muntu ningambambi lona uyakho.
Do you notice she says libhubesi? She says libhubesi. Libhubesi, not ingonyama. And wabamba baphuthi bona they say ukumapa. So in isiphuthi they don't have the word ukubamba, they have mapa. To hayi mapa lana ngesadla. Loba bathi mapa ngetadla totbini. Another interesting thing I want to point out, when people speak isiNdebele samahlaba ezulu, that is to say isiNdebele sase Zimbabwe, people normally criticize them. You guys must speak proper Zulu. No, those guys speak like that. There's a specific thing they do where they put an L instead of an N. So instead of saying ninjani, AmaNdebele will say linjani. Do you know that Baputi do the exact same thing? Linjani. Abaputi do the exact same thing. When I speak Siputi, I will say lijani beketfu. Likeki. So if I say in Siputi, where are you? I will say likeki. If I greet you in Siputi, I will say salibona. Or ngiyalivugisa. Not ngiyanivumisa. No, ngiyalivugisa. That's Siputi there. So Siputi does the exact same thing as isiNdebele says Zimbabwe. So they're not speaking wrong. It's how they speak. In fact, isiXhosa has those elements as well. It's not like the most prominent thing, but it's there. For example, isiXhosa, when something is inclining towards another, we say idunusile. It's inclining towards something. Idunusele endaweni ethile. But another version is ukudulusa. Ukudulusa with an L instead of N. Also, in isiXhosa, when you slaughter an animal as a sacrifice, we call that idini. But I've heard people say idili. Yabo. Or ukuqunusa, yeah. So. In fact, even in isiZulu or some of the Zulu dialect, they have this because abantu bakwa mchunu. When you look at the ones who left to Soshangane, they don't say mchunu, they say mchulu, which is actually makes more sense to me because mchulu is a quiver to put a bundle of spears. Kumchulu wokufaka inkatha yemikhonto or inyanda yemikhonto. Mchulu. I know a guy who's mchulu. He's a mchulu person from Mozambique. I don't know if it's Mozambique or Limpopo, I'm not sure. But he left with Soshangane there in KZN. But mchulu straight Macingwane. So it's not just a Ndebele thing. Yabo thina sitosi sithi lijani bekhetfu linse linqabiye agebe ngilibona agebe ngilibona mahlo madzala kutafanele ukuthi sike since sibonane bekhetfu or line liya keki. When I'm asking nina niya kuphi ngesiphuthi will say line liya keki. So that's a very important thing to know. So lack of knowledge makes people think shortly. Like you think very tiny, and sometimes it's not your fault. It's how things are. Yeah, boy. The standardization of isiXhosa or isiZulu or Sesotho, all languages that were standardized killed dialectical speech. Now you see, I don't have a problem with standardizing languages. But you must know why you're standardizing languages. What you can do is, you can have a standardized isiZulu that is going to be taught in all Zulu schools purely for the purpose of government communication. So within isiZulu, you have standardized Zulu and you have indigenous speech. So for half of the year, kids must learn the standardized Zulu, and then the other half, they must drill deep into their dialectical speech so that they preserve their language. Because isiXhosa, we want the same thing. You have standardized isiXhosa. The standardized version is going to be used by people of other languages when they want to learn. So let's say I want to learn Sepedi. I can go learn Sepedi because I'm not a native speaker. But Mulubedu should not be forced to speak Sepedi. They can learn it just to, but they should, 80% of the curriculum should be in Kilubedu. Because Kimulubedu. Ingqika, umXhosa lingqika, should 80% of their curriculum should be isingqika. 20% should be the standardized Xhosa. Igqunukhwebe, 80% should be isigqunukhwebe or isitshiwo. 80% should be Gqunukhwebe dialect. 20% should be standardized Xhosa. People who are from Enweba, Xhosa people who are from Enweba, places like Aberdeen, Craydog, Graaff-Reinet, they should speak their dialect. 80% of the curriculum, 20%. So standardized speech cannot replace our way of speaking, because what you get is languages die and people don't understand others. I went to see my mother a few weeks ago. Maybe I spent 2 hours with my mom, and as we are sitting down, she's talking to me. Hey, she uses words that I haven't heard in a long time, and I'm laughing at these words. Like, uthi yendoda ukhona umbo apha oze nogxinakhwe babafana. Hey, that ogxinakhwe. Yeah, I laughed because I haven't heard the word in such a long time. Gxinakhwe means strong people. Khwe means people. Gxina means strength. Gxina, when you say someone is very strong, unamagxina. So gxinakhwe, it's gaqa, it's gantsonto. Goons, bouncers. So to mama, this other man, uze no gxinakhwe babafana. He came with strong looking young men. And I realized, damn, we are losing the language, man. How many people are you going to hear using words like gxinakwe? My sister's like, I went ufuna undenza uheqwa. Andingoheqwa. I'm like, damn, heqwa. When was the last time I heard someone using the word heqwa? I haven't heard the word uheqwa. Damn. Kuthiwa hayi umenge ingqula namhlanje. Yes. Oh my God. So that's when I realized, no man, we need to go back, because Tina, when something smells at home, when something is a strong smell, we used to say yachu. Hey yachu, my God, that's true. Other people don't know this word, but where I'm from, people know this word. So why should I then be forced to stop using this word so that other people can? It doesn't make sense. So I would say now, the way forward with teaching our languages, we should regionalize them. The standardized isiXhosa, the standardized isiZulu, the standardized isiSotho. Let's keep them the way they are, because those will be used in government communications. They are not speaking languages. They are written languages for communication purposes. But for literature, for writing, for speech, we need to do dialectical languages. So someone Osemahlathini in KZN should speak the language of Mahlathini, should not be forced to learn something from a Thukela. Someone also Thukela should not speak the language of Upongolo, etc., etc. Nase Eastern Cape is the same thing. Umnasemampondweni. They're not going to be able to write that in the book. Hey, one dichinga lomdu. Umnasemampondweni will be forced to say one dicapukis. But yena as impondo, they don't want to say kapuka, they want to say tunuka, they want to say chinga. Yabon, umdo se bizana who wants to say umtram, my child, umtram. They're not going to be able to write that down because it doesn't exist in standardized language. That's why I'm saying we must regionalize it. So you take the curriculum 80% or 25%, you put standardized language, and then 75% you put the regional language. In that way, you will promote the preservation of our culture. And then there must be a section that teaches particularly izihlonipho, euphemistic language. You know, when we were young, there's a guy who came to our community and lived with us. Hey, this guy, he used to speak Simpondo. At the end, I go quit fun. I go quit on Obunya dot. What language is this guy speaking? Yeah, because I speak the language of Amangiga. I speak the language of Amangiga. I don't speak Simpondo. But my language of Amangiga also, it's taken from my parents. Yeah, taken from my parents, who also speak the language of Amabomvan, because my maternal grandfather, is the Xhosa people who used to stay in KwaBomvana before. You know, long ago, most Xhosa people used to be there in KwaBomvana. Anyway, I've explained Amamfene, guys. The point of this live was to drill deep into. I've explained Amamfene. I think I've done that. I want to go to other Khwe people in the eastern part of the country. This is part 1. I'll do another one in 2 hours. Abattoir of the eastern side of the country. I will explain them. Botani. I want to talk about Sukwini people. Sukwini people. Because I saw an article recently that says Amakwama have a right to claim Khoisan kingship. Guys, firstly, there is no people called Khoisans. Secondly, there are no Khoisan kings. Let me reiterate. There are no people called Khoisans. There are no Khoisan kings. There never was, there never will be. Khoisan is not a real thing. It's a term that was coined by a German zoologist who was participating in the genocide of Herero and Nama people in Namibia. Leonard Schulze. He came with the term to mean these subhuman creatures. Different various nations. He just called them Khoisan. When it's not a real thing. What you do have is human beings who have different nations and different languages. Today I'm going to talk about some of those people known as the Sukwini in isiXhosa. But I will tell you the Sukwini in a proper version of the name. They are Auken Sua E or Auken Sua Kwi or Sua Kwi. That is to say, mountain and hill people. Obviously, Leonard Schulze, the zoologist who came with the term Khoisan, he's a zoologist. He works with animals. To him, Khoisans were a branch of human-looking animals, like monkeys. Remember, in a colonial system, you don't have a place there. You are a subhuman creature. You are a wild beast. So whether they call you Bantu, and I'm saying Bantu on purpose, not Abantu, or Banu, or Batu. I'm saying Bantu. When they say you are Bantu, or you are Khoisan, just know they mean you are not human. That's it. There is no in-between or whatever there. Bantu and Khoisan are words that mean non-human. It was an established, agreed upon, established opinion, which they made into a pseudo-fact in all colonial societies, that you, indigenous people, are not human. You are 60% human. That is to say, you are 3/5 human. So when the names they use to call you, you must understand, when you try to claim those names, they all have that connotation. When you call we are Bantu, no, you are non-human to them. Oh, we are Khoisan. No, that's a non-human identity. Why would a zoologist label you? Why would a zoologist? Why would you be a project of a zoologist? Do you understand what the zoologist does? They work with wild animals, which means they were experimenting with you, wild animal. What you have is people who speak different indigenous African languages. Some of those languages are known as Khwe Mana. Khwe means people, Mana means the tongue. Khwe Mana, the tongue of the people. You have languages like Kwing Kia. Kwi means people. Kia means the language. Kwing Kia is the language of the people. You have languages such as Khun, Dari. Khun means the people. Dari means a language, a speech. Khun Dari is the speech of the people. You have languages like Kho An. Kho means the people. An means to speak a language. Kho An is the speech of the people. Khwe Goab. Khwe means people. Goab means is a language. Khwe Goab is the language of the people. Ntu, isi, ntu. Isi is the manner, the quality, the essence of people. Ntu, abantu. Isintu is the essence of the people, linguistically, the language of the people. None of this has anything to do with Khoisan or Bantu garbage. It's words that mean the same thing. Whether you say Isintu, whether you say Khwe Mana, whether you say Kwinkia, whether you say Khundari, whether you say Khokan, it's all one word. The people's tongue. In fact, even the way these people refer to themselves, Abantu, the people, Kwi, the people, Kwe, the people, Khu, the people, Kung, the people, Kwe, the people, Kwa, the people, Kwa, the people. All the words mean the same thing, Abantu. But somehow, a zoologist has the unmitigated temerity to label you. Do you know what a zoologist does? Now, at the border of the Eastern Cape and Free State, not Free State, is it Free State? I think so. And at the border of the Eastern Cape and Western Cape, there's a mountain, the mountains of snow, called Sneeuberg. Sneeuberg. Those mountains are not far from Kreidog, Grafreinet, that area of Khamdobowa or the Khamdibu area. Now, Khamdibu is a word that we still use. If you go to areas like Heklesi in the Eastern Cape, you'll find villages like Khamdobowa. Kam means green. Dobowa is a hold. Umdibi, a hold. So Khamdobowa is a deep hole that is green. It's a green valley, green depression in a land. So Khamdibu is that area where you have the Sneeuberg, the snow mountains. In those mountains, there was a group of people who lived there. These were known as the people of the mountain. Abathwa bentaba, Auken Swakwi, or Swakwini, Amasukwini, the people of the mountain. Sukwini means Auken Swak or Auken Swakwi, or Swak Auken Kwi, the people of the mountain. That's what Sukwini is. It's a calm group of people. That is all there is to it. It's not some, oh no, descendant. Yeah, Baba. We should not be mixing things up. Amasukwini, Gamakam. That's it. They are calm. That's why they are called Amatwama. Sukwini is Tram. It's the mountain bushman. And I'm using the word bushman just to clarify. It's not a real word. If anything, bushman means the people of the bush. That is me, Mos. Or Hlati. Hlati. We are the people of the bush, Tina. Kanzi. Hlati, Kanzi is the bush. Abantu behlati. Yes, avumile. Amagubevu. That is correct. Qaukeni is the same word as Qaukeni in the Mpondo people. Iqauka is a place that is mountainous, a place with stones and mountains and hills. That's what Qauka is. So the name of the Sukwini people is Qauken Suaqui. The people who live in the mountains. Abantu base Qaukeni, abantu bentaba. That's why they say Lau lentaba. Twa. Twama. That is to say Qam. Hey, Bati. Oh, no, it's Khwe. Yeah, Baba. There's no thing called Khwe here. There is no word that is Khwe in any language in South Africa. I don't know where people get this word called Khwe. Upsy daisy. My plant fell. There is no word called Khwe. I don't know, but I see people. No, it's not Khoisan, it's Khwe. Khwe is not a real word, it's gibberish. You know why people use the word Khwe? It's because they're trying to replace, it's a reactionary nonsense. They're trying to replace Khoisan, so they want a word that is gonna rhyme with Khoisan. But Khwe. No, Khoisan and Khwe are both stupid, non-existent words. They don't exist in any language. I call Khwe, I call Khoisan, I call Khoisan. I've even heard people say, it's Khoisan. Sometimes abantu badinga induku qha. Bese kuhlaba induku qha. Uhlaba induku omnquma qha vele uqhume kubenzima. Uhlaba umnquma qha umbamba umthika emlanjeni kwecala ubamba umnquma ngapha ubamba umthathi ngapha uhlaba induku emntwini. Umbethe umuntu avuka ingqondo le. Khoisan is not a real word. It was created by a German. It was not an attempt to say Khoisan or Xhosa. No! Xhosa has nothing to do with the word Khoisan. The word Khoisan has nothing to do with Khwe. You created that by yourself here on TikTok. It's not a real thing. The Khwe and the sun. There is no Khwe and the sun. You are just trying to conceptualize European labels of Hottentots and Busman. There are no Hottentots and Busman here. Stupidity. Because I agree, you say you're trying to decolonize. You are trying to decolonize, but you wanna literally just rename the exact same things that Europeans gave to you. No, there's Bantu, then there's Hottentots, then there's... That's European inventions. What are they called? Obani. Who should be called? What are they called? Obani. Who? Because people are people. What are they called? Obani. I want you to explain. There's a question here. Enkosi Bai, please explain. You were saying, what are they called? What is the Khoisan? What is that? You don't Khoisan. Iza, Booyah. Come. No, I know you're not fighting, but it's an important opportunity for me to explain now. Come. I want you to see how the question in and of itself is non-entity. The question is invalid. It should not be asked. It's an invalid question. Punguza menani ni madinamu. Wenu tetu no tanda ya zizo padanga. Oh, punguza lamu kendal baege maklenamu. Hey, here's the thing. White people came with categories in South Africa. Uguti, there's a Busma, and then there's Hottentot, and then there's Bantu. There's no word that makes me laugh like the word Bantu. Hey, there's no word that makes me laugh than that one. Now, you guys wanna say, okay, no, let's remove the Bantu, put them on the side. And then we have the Khwe and the sun. But what's that? Which person in this country has ever called themselves, we are the Khwe, and it's like some school group, dance group or what? If you have people, Abantu, Khwe, Khwe, Kwa, Khwe, Kwa, they call themselves Abantu, we call ourselves Abantu. That's all there is to it. Indigenous human beings who exist in South Africa. Now, the question activists are those ones, they are just deluded. They are absolutely delusional. They know nothing about, they don't even care about indigenous history, those people. Those people just want positions in parliament. They want positions in parliament and they want to be given recognition by the ANC government and get grants to get lands. They couldn't be bothered about any indigenous living systems, any indigenous history, indigenous culture. They have no real connection to this land whatsoever. They just want farms and licenses and subsidies. They want money. Now, this thing is deeper than just that. It's not about land or money or whatever. It's about freeing your soul, freeing your essence. No, I didn't go to Zoe Bible Church or Petra Bible Church. I don't even know what those are. So, Ngozi Bai, you're still asking, tell me what the people about Tetela language are called. You see, I get your confusion because you don't have enough information to be able to pose the question to begin with. That is the fundamental issue. You don't have enough knowledge to be able to even pose the question. Uti, what are the people who speak that language? But what is that language? Which language? Which one? It's Xhosa. Let's start with this Xhosa. AmaSukwini, they speak isiXhosa. And whether they are called Sukwini, that's it. They are called Chwama, which means they are Tram people. I've answered your question. The Sukwini people who speak isiXhosa, they call themselves AmaChwama. They are called AmaChwama because they are Tram people. I'm telling you now, their name is Khwe Swaqwi. That is to say, people who live in the rugged mountains. The Khwe people who live in the mountains. Khwe means people. Khawken means mountain. Eqawukeni or Emqawukeni. Swa is a hill. Su is a hill. Sukwi, the people of the hill. Sukwini, abasezindabeni. That's what it is. That's why abantu bakaSukwini bathi Sukwini. Lawulendaba or Tolelomtwa Chwama. Why do you think they call themselves that? They call them because that's what they are. They are the Tram people of the mountains. That's what Sukwini are. They are the Tram people of the mountains. Sukwini Mtwa. Let me show you actually. So that you don't think I'm making this up. You know, people think you are making this stuff up. I'm not making this stuff up. Read here. Lao Sukwini Mtwa Sandlalanga Gqirhashe Njambomvu Qwelane Dibashe. Awu, komo zika Chwama. Isonga ngubrotho madoda, inyama nguflays. Izembe libewule, imela ngunaifu, itrongo ivenkile, umnqayila inqindi, imvaba iketile. Oh, kuthiwa ngutika ivumani nepokotho. Kuthiwa ipoko yamasiko nguskolpati. AmaSukwini ke, they are actually Tram people. I don't want you to ever be confused now and ask, what are they called? No, they're called Sukwini. They are Tram people. AmaChwama. They are Khawken Swaqwi. They used to live in mountains along the Tram Dobowa area. like Sneeuwberg Mountains, like Aberdeen, in the lands of Uyintsati. That's Sukwini people. That's one. What language did they speak? They spoke Tram. I hope I answered you. I hope and I know the answer is not nice, it's not exciting, because I didn't mention anything about Khoisan or Bushmen. Those things are not there. They don't exist. I told you, Bushmen means people of the bush. It's me. That's me. Hlati. I am Uhlati. I am a Bushman. There's no other one. Unless you come from the Bush clan, like Khwe. The Khwe people, Amachwawu, those one can call themselves the people of the bush. Tsitsikamma is one of the lands of Amasukwini. Tsitsikamma is one of the lands of Amasukwini. Remember, Tsitsikamma means the springing waters. Tsitsikam or Tsitsikama. Amakama is water. Tsitsi, kukutsitsa is to spring forward. If you look there, the waters are springing. There's obviously many clans that were there, like the Songwa groups. Songwa is another word to mean Sukwini. It's Tram. It's Tram descendants. It's Tram descendants. So it's very, very important to understand. Now, you have another group, Amagwashu. This is the group that Siyakolisi comes out of. You can't call them a Gwashu Khoisan. They are not Khoisan. They never call themselves Khoisan. They are Gwashu. Gwashu Kais. I'm waiting for an indigenous group that calls themselves Khoisan. Just one. I'm a Gwashu. They are Gwashu. Gwa literally means clay. Shu is a pot. Gwashu, clay pot people. So this Bushman thing, the only people who can call themselves Bushmen are people that have a totem of the bush or clan name that says bush, like me. Hlati, Tanzi, bush. Tanzi is a bush. Hlati is a bush. And the Khwe, the Chwawa people of Zimbabwe, the Chwawu people of Zimbabwe, they can call themselves Bushmen, those ones, because that's their totem. They are known as the bush people. Khwe. Abe Chwawu emampondweni. Amazocho. Within Amazocho, you got a group known as the Shwawu, the Dei. They can call themselves Bushmen. They are literally, the name literally says that Shwawu, Khwe. You can't call people something they didn't call themselves. That's all I'm saying. You cannot call people something they never called themselves. You can't call the Tram people Bushmen when they didn't call themselves that. The Tram called themselves Tramka Khwe. The people of the Tram, that's why they call themselves Khwe. Tramka Khwe or Tramka Khwe. Khwe, it means abantu, people. Just like the Amasukwini never call themselves Bushmen, they call themselves Swakwi or Kauken Swakwi. That is to say, mountain and hill dwellers. Mountain and hill people. Laulendaba. So why do you want to then add another? You are not Khoi, you are not Khoisan, you are not Bushmen. They don't exist as Ozinto. Bring some gifts, you people. Bring me some gifts. Now, in Zimbabwe, there's a group of people known as the Chwawu. How do you write it? It's TJWAU. Chwawu. Chwawu. Those people in Zimbabwe are literally a Khwe group of people. They are Khwe because they call themselves Khwe. Chwawu Khwe or Tsihi Chwawure. Remember, Re means people as well. Re means people. Or Ra means people. Or La means people. That's why the Gcina people call themselves Khame La. Khame means the same. La means a person. Khamela, the people who are similar, the twins. Ash. So, Tsihi Chwawure or Tsihi Chware means the people of the bush. People of the bush. Abeshwau or Dei, they have other interrelated clans within themselves, like Amanzimakwe. Amanzimakwe are also part of the Shwau people. You know, when you see the ANC people, those ones, those ones, you are wasting your time with them. ANC, they are part of the problem of those ones. ANC are part of the problem. They are just afraid, Bona. They are just afraid of the chaos that these Khoisan people are going to create for them. They are scared. So they will recognize the Khoisan as the first people. But what does first people mean? Firstly, first people is something that was stolen from America and the Pacific Islands, Australia and what is this? New Zealand. First people means only one thing. The people who were there before Europeans arrived. Those people are called first people in America. They are called first people in the USA. They are in Canada. They are called first people in New Zealand. They are called first people in Australia because they were there before Europeans. That's what first people are. They were first relative to the Europeans. Anyone who was in that country before Europeans arrived, they are first people. The so-called first people are not some homogeneous group. It's people, different groups who existed in a country. They may not even be related amongst each other. They are just different, but they were there before Europeans. Therefore, they are first people. So if you want to have first people in South Africa, everyone who did not come with Europeans is a first nation. Xhosa people are first nation. Amampondo are first nation. AmaZulu are first nation. AmaHlubi are first nation. Bavenda are first nation. Balubedu are first nation. Bapedi are first nation. Mapulana are first nation. Basotho are first nation. Batswana are first nation. Amandebele are first nation. Kam are first nation. Kho are first nation. Kung are first nation. Omani are first nation. Abathembu are first nation. Amagiko are first nation. Amangosini, the Kora are first nation. Who's not? The people who came with or after the Europeans. The Indians who came from Asia are not first nation. The Cape Malays who came from Asia are not first nation. The slaves who came from Africa, from West Africa, most of whom are in the Cape Colony right now, they are not first nation. The Dutch settlers are not first nation. The English settlers are not first nation. The Portuguese settlers are not first nation. The French settlers are not first nation. But all the indigenous African nations that existed way before the first Europeans came in the 1400s, those people are first because they are first before the Europeans. That is the definition everywhere else in the world. Now, the people who are appropriating that title of First Nation don't even care to read what it even means in the countries where it's used. They just want to push a political narrative of distancing themselves from anything that has to do with blackness. And it's fine. They can be non-black because black in and of itself is not a real identity. It's something that exists relative to whiteness. Black is something that exists relative to whiteness. No actual indigenous community are black people. They are just people. Because there's nothing else other than being a person in the indigenous life. And if you are not indigenous, you are not a human. And that's the truth. Scientifically, come on, man. Scientifically, Abelungu are mutated. Amandia they've mutated. They've got Homo denisovans. Abelungu have got Homo neanderthalensis. South Koreans and Mongolians literally have denisovans in their blood. So asking about, therefore, You don't have to be anything else. We are just umtu. You can't be umtu omnyama, umtu or blue. No, ungumtu. That's it. You know, even in West Africa, they've got non-human DNA. They literally have got things called ghost DNA in West Africa. Kwabona kusibantu nje. West Africa. Angobantu. Someone was asking here about the Chwawu people. I think Unodange has a point with the sickle cell thing. The sickle cell thing that you find among some black Americans. Even the West Africans are mutated. They are not truly Homo sapien. They have a mutation in their DNA. Even in East Africa, you can see it's visible. Come on now. Yawabona amatutsi anjani. Yawabona amaSomalia namatopi anjani. Ba mutated abantu. Yasibona thina sinjani mos. Come on now. So now, within Amazocho, guys, these are descendants of so-called Bushmen. So-called. So within Amazocho, you've got Amanzima Khwe. Nzima Khwe. Now, Nzima, you should know what Nzima means. Nzima means heavy, but it also means something that's dark. So it means the dark people. And then you've got Amashwawu, the Shwawu people. Amashwawu, the Shwawu people. I see there's a Neanderthal that is touched there in the thingy. Yeah, Neanderthal, run to the ice cave, Baba. You green-eyed beast. Run to the cave. We'll burn you here. You are the people of the sun. Don't torture yourself by listening to me. Don't torture. I operated at another frequency. So you've got Amanzimakwe within Amazocho. Amazocho, guys, we need to be clear. They are about. That's it. I'm gonna go back to the question: how do you differentiate? Because I think abantu bafuna differentiator between the Ntu and the Twa and the Lao. I will help you differentiate that. The difference is a cultural evolutionary difference, not a racial difference in a way. It's a culture. It's like saying umzekelo, Amasukwini, the Kauken Swakwi, they were living in the mountains. That is to say, therefore, they would have been practicing a life of living in caves, hunting and all that. Therefore, Amasukwini would be different to Amachawe. Because Amachawe would be keeping cattle and making, armies. That's the difference, therefore, between Amasukwini and Amachawe. The way they live. Let's go back to Amazocho. You've got Amanzimakwe, the dark people, the dark Khwe. Within Amazocho, you've got Amagwahu. Gwahu literally means the skies. It means the sky is Zulu. Gogweskwi. In Khwe or Kwinkia. Gwahu means the sky or the rain clouds. Abantu bezulu. You've got the Chwawu. Chwawu, we already explained. It's tree or bush people. These are the proper bushmen. The Chwawu people. Or Deyi or Chwawu. And then you have Omboto. In fact, Odeyi or Chwawu, I'm telling you, these people are Khwe. Do you find them in Zimbabwe? They are even called Ondenza Kalau or Ondenza Kamtwa. Okay, I will allow panelists just now. I want to read Amazocho and finish. Within Amazocho, you've got the Chucha people. And then you've got Imitwane. You know Imitwane. Imitwane, the little Batwa. And then you've got Ombutwa, Onjiela, Omangi, and Amangasan, which we all know they are Khwe descendants. Ngasa. Na means people. The Na means people. Ngasa is the actual name. Asa. And Na means people. Like Kora or Kora and Na means people. So it's Korana and Ngasana. So the brother Kevnat, you must understand when we talk about Amachwau, they are not a standalone group. There are other groups like Amanzimakwe, like Amangasana, we have Amanele. They also mixed with Amakesibe. omthwa. You understand? Amaxesibe omthwa. Forget that Amaxesibe, they don't know who they are today. They say, we are Sukembo, Congo, Tina. Jani, but your name literally means the people of the desert. Xesibe. You are called Xesibe Khwe. The people of the desert. Now, Amazocho is a group of these mixed nations that were traveling all across the country. So you'll find Amazocho in KZN, you'll find Amazocho amongst the Mampondo, you'll find some of Amazocho amongst the Mampondo and amongst the Mapata and KwaZulu. That's why you have Omsweli. That's why you'll have Odeyi, Mampondweni, Amagwaho. It's important to understand the context of these names. Now, someone was asking about Amagwecha. Amagwecha, guys. Abambo are not indigenous. No, man, guys. I've been explaining this thing. Abambo are people who used to mine gold. What does that have to do with indigeneity? How do you say? It's like saying, oh, the people who work in the mines are not indigenous. That has nothing to do with indigeneity, Ubumbo. It's not some bloodline. There was no person called Mumbo. There was never. If you were told Kukumdo Ngumbo, they are lying to you. So go and watch my YouTube channel, Sandile Tukani. There's 2 parts where I explain what Ubumbo is. What I'm saying is that when you claim everyone is Abambo. No, Kandebele, don't worry. Guys, when I respond to you, I'm not responding to you as a person. I'm addressing what you are asking. So, I know maybe I sound too passionate or too worked up. No, don't worry. I'm not fighting. I'm not angry. Please don't take it to heart because I think some people think I'm fighting them. I'm not fighting you, ne? Please. But I'm going to answer on the spot. Therefore, I'm not going to be calm and nice about it. I'm just going to say it straight. No. Because I want the next person who's been deluded to understand. Abambo, I don't come from some Mbo person. Do you really think, guys, there's some one person who can give birth to all of us? We've been in existence for thousands of years, my people. There's no way that there's going to be one guy who's going to give birth to everyone. There's no person who gave birth to Uxhosa, Uzulu, Ndebele, and Uswati. These people were not given birth to one person by one person. And it will never be the truth. When you look at the timeline they're giving you, this is from 1450. That means in 1450, before that, these people did not exist. They will tell you Ungunu zalwa nguNtu, which means Untu existed in 1300. Before 1300, Untu and Abantu did not exist. Come on, guys. It's your guys' political obsession with being better than the next person. That's why these false histories exist. People are so obsessed. The Xhosa want to be better than the Zulu. The Zulu want to be better than the Xhosa. Hey, Winzule, hey, Uli Xhosa. Yo, Murman. Stop lying. Xhosa, Zulu, Mpondo Mise, Abambo. All these things are nation states that were constructed by specific families. So the history of the people in KZN is not the history of the family KwaZulu. There's a family of KwaZulu, the Zulu clan, and then there's the nations, different clans under that family. Those clans have their own histories, and that family has their own history. They came together and built a nation state with laws and all that, united with one thing only, allegiance to that family. Same thing kwaXhosa. AmaSukwini, I told you, they are Khwe and Swaqwi. They are Tram people. And I'm going to tell you now, AmaGwashu, Namanqakhwane, they are not Tram. They are AmaHintsati, they are Inkwa Hase, or Grinkwa people. Sukwini, they are Tram. Nqakhwane and Gwashu, they are not Tram. They are Inkwa Hase. But all these people are united under one thing today, the rulership of Amachawe. Amachawe are not Tram. Amachawe are not Grinkwa. They are Chawe people. They are a nation. They are a people of their own self. related to the Qira and the Jwaga. But because they're the ruler, all these different groups like Amaqoqo are all united under Amachao. So it's very important to understand, guys, like when you talk about Abambo, it's not some one homogeneous group. It's different nations and clans who come from different walks of life, but they are united by the general industry of those people, which is the mining and smelting of gold and other minerals. That's what then becomes Ubumbo. The lifestyle that these people do. Guys, I have something important that I need to attend to. It's going to take me 30 to 45 minutes. At 14:45, please, all of you, set a reminder. At 14:45, I'm going to be back. I'm going to continue until 5 or 6 or 7. I'm not going to stop. Kuzonuka, umswane wemfene namhlanje. Nibize wonke amaqheya namakhaladi mawaze. They must all come now. Kuzoshuba. I want all those Abba what the king and King Umbo and King Bungan mabaze bonke. Make sixoxeni inyewe siqulunqe inyewe. We must talk now. When I come back, I'm opening the floor. Makunuka umswane mfene madoda. Qha ngokunobathana. I'm gonna drop now. I have something very important. Please set a reminder. I need, you see, there's 114 people. I need even more. Please come back. I want you guys to like. And please come back with gifts. Tamago, kuchamba Barcelona. And lo bhaqa. And lilo ibhaqa. Kudala ndicacisa. Umadzikane wamabhaqa is recent. My madzikane is from the 1500s. It's not, I'm not bhaqa. It's just similar names. Bye-bye. I have to drop. I'll be back in 30 to 45 minutes. Bye-bye.